Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and of course, India Post is a forum where you can participate, you decide the agenda, and you talk about the issues that concern you. We're talking about the massive victory in the election of 2014 that we witnessed today. It's history in the making. Never ever before has such a verdict been delivered, such a decisive mandate for Narendra Modi, for the BJP, and they're all set to form the government. Now, what really happened during this entire election? There have been words that have been thrown about, from polarization to development to caste wars and communal and the secular debate. So, what really, at the end of the day, has been the conclusion of the elections of 2014, the Lok Sabha general elections, and we'll be talking about that with Dr. Ijaz Ilmi. He's a senior leader of the BJP and runs Siyasat Jadid, one of India's leading Urdu newspapers. We're also joined in the studio by Mr. Sudeep Srivastav. He is an RTI activist, a lawyer, and somebody who's traveled extensively and observed this entire election process very closely. We're also joined on Skype by various people, and we hope that you can bring in as many views as you can to this conversation. You can come in via Google Hangout, you can come in via Skype, you can come in via Twitter, and our hashtag on Twitter is India Post Live, and our Twitter handle is @IndiaPostLive. You can even use Facebook to get in touch with us. So we're out there to listen to you. It's for you to come into this conversation. Dr. Ilmi, I'll start with you. What went right? I mean, it's a massive victory, and I know you for a long time now, so I know that you stood on the other side of the divide earlier. You had friends in the Congress, had worked with the Congress party in some capacities. What made you change your mind? Why are you wearing a lotus on your chest today?
Well, I joined the BJP party formally after talking to them for a long time. I seem to be pretty convinced by the top leadership, including Rajnath Ji and Mr. Arun Jaitley and various other leaders, that they actually meant business when they said that we intend to have equal opportunity for all citizens without discrimination. And I feel that this secularism drill has been used to deny a large section of population, to seclude them further. And this was really getting to me, being an activist and representing the minority community for a long time, running one of the oldest Urdu newspapers out of UP, and being a political commentator on Indian Muslim issues. I felt that a lot of injustice was actually being done by this so-called dole politics that was happening in this country. You offer doles, you do poor planning, faulty implementation, you take them on a little high horse, and then you dump them, and then you try and just use them by talking about riots and other things, being selective in your discourse. I felt a lot of injustice was being done, and when I had my discussions with senior BJP leaders, I felt there's a sense of sincerity, because their state governments, actually the performance of the state governments in poverty alleviation of the poorer sections is much better in the states like Gujarat and Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, and the fact that they came back to power in Rajasthan with a sizable support of the Muslim sections. For the first time, you have 2 BJP MLAs, and the Congress has none in Rajasthan. In the 22 Muslim-dominated seats in Madhya Pradesh, 21 were won by BJP. Earlier, even the Christian community was used in a similar fashion. The 6-7 MLAs always belonged to the Congress party. But for the first time, all 6-7 of them belong to the BJP. So sooner or later, the so-called secular parties are showing up as just utilizing people on narrow religious considerations to buff up their own political stock rather than deliver goods as promised.
All right, Sudeep, what would you attribute this victory to? I mean, I would say that there is a Modi wave, and there was one.
Actually, without taking credit away from Narendra Modi, as he did a fantastic job by leading from the front and doing a lot of work, what I would like to add is this is more an anti-Congress wave. You see, all the regional parties like Jayalalitha's AADMK, YRS Reddy's party, then Naveen Patnaik and Mamta, TMC, all such regional parties which were opposed to or not aligned in any sense with Congress have won. But the parties like SP, BSP, RJD, JDU, DMK, whichever have a direct or indirect link with Congress, inherited their anti-incumbency. So it's more an anti-Congress wave. People were fed up with this government because of corruption, inflation, non-governance, weak government, and moreover, their arrogance.
Right.
So they chose to give a decisive mandate and no other in sight for option except Narendra Modi and BJP. So they benefited more.
All right, Sanjeev joins us. Sanjeev Ratna Singh is our consulting editor at India Post Live, and he was all day at the Congress office. Sanjeev, the term that was often used for the BJP was it's a political untouchable. Is now the same term that can be used for the Congress party, do you think?
Well, at this point of time, what I would like to say is that, the Congress actually is in a sort of a zone where they don't know what's hit them. We heard Rahul Gandhi talk about the escape velocity to Jupiter. I think, they're somewhere there because even the body language today of Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi was, it was pretty uncertain. And when Rahul was asked again, when reporters wanted to ask him again about a few questions about why he thinks that the campaign went wrong, you could see Sonia Gandhi, just ushering him to move. So definitely somewhere down the line, the Congress party lost the plot and they refused to believe that they had lost the plot, and they still went ahead with the same old, storyline that we've seen in Bollywood that went on in the 70s and the 80s, and they thought that, it would become a money spinner for them. But, they've got to think out of the box now, and especially with, the kind of mandate that BJP has got, just by sitting in the opposition and waiting for, the ruling party to make a mistake will not suffice. So they have to get their act together.
All right, the Congress certainly needs to get its act together. Venkatesh Athreya now joins us from Chennai. What do you make? I mean, it's a massive, massive win for the BJP. What would you attribute it to, and what does it mean for the country?
The national verdict, of course, is a clear majority for the BJP, which is a bit of a surprise to many of us who thought that it would be a bit more closely called. But let me take one point before I get into the arithmetic. Our friend who started this discussion said that here was a party which is no longer talking about Muslims and Hindus and talk about only Indians. Now let me remind you that in their manifesto, the BJP has a statement which says that India will be a haven for all persecuted Hindus. It doesn't say Indians, it says Hindus. But I don't think the communal agenda is out of the reckoning at all. And especially now that they have a majority, the bugle has been sounded by Vaidya yesterday about the Ram Janmabhoomi and about T70 and about UC. So I don't think that the communal issue is going to go away. I think the RSS, Bajpa, Parivar will raise them, and that is going to be an issue that come. I'll leave it aside for now because I don't want to get into a controversy, but let's place the record, facts on the record, because the manifesto is still very communal manifesto. But having said that, I agree with the second speaker that this is basically an anti-Congress wave. You can see it across the country. In Tamil Nadu, AIADMK has got 37, almost 39 seats. And the remaining two, only one of them will go to possibly, and we don't know yet, it may go to either Congress or Bajpa. The other one goes to a caste-based party, which is a purely caste-based mobilization. This is Dr. Anbumani in Dharmapuri. Now, I think that there are, in the days to come, there are going to be some very important issues that the nation has to face. Now, for example, as far as the economic policy is concerned, there is no distinction between Bajpa and the Congress. They basically follow pretty much the same neoliberal policies. If you look at the map of the elections, you have a clear north-south divide now, except for Karnataka, where they brought Yediyurappa back. I mean, talk about fighting corruption. They brought Yediyurappa back and won that state. I would give all credit for strategy to someone like Shah, who came to UP, used the communal situation brilliantly, strategized very well, and got BJP 72 seats. All, must give them credit for the well-planned strategy. I'm not taking anything away from that. But if you look at the map of it, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Orissa, good part of the east, it's not clear that if you look at the vote share of the BJP and the seat share, there's a distinct difference there. But again, contrary to expectations, this is a decisive victory. One has to accept that. I only hope that in the coming days, the agenda will be different and will not go back to the agenda which was important in bringing the victory. See, they did two things. There was one, the slogan of development and governance. Gradually, the election campaign got heated up. The slogan of development and governance played out parallel to the slogan of sending people to Pakistan and other kinds of things. So let's hope that the development agenda stays. And if the development agenda is not to be different to the Congress, it has to be non-neoliberal. I suspect that's going to be very difficult to organize because the Bajpa is as beholden to the corporates as the Congress was in its period in power. And you can even say to the corporates who planned, along with the RSS, this brilliant strategy of Modi and putting him as a master. It really worked for them. I mean,
Right.
all credit, but it's important to see those things in perspective.
All right, but Dr. Ilmi wants to respond, but Dr. Ilmi, the point I just want to, because we have very little time and there are a host of things we want to talk about because this is a change in India that is being affected right now. But as far as the RSS is concerned, many would question the RSS, many Muslims would question the RSS. And what would your take on the RSS be? And do you think this is the RSS's victory as well?
The RSS has definitely contributed to this victory, but this is the victory of the people in a democracy. When the majority votes, and then you got to accept that majority. And the majority sentiment in this country is for change, for development, for the good governance platform that they have, for the various state governments which are doing a fantastic job. And that's what the mandate is all about. And this election, people have voted beyond the caste paradigm, beyond religion paradigm, beyond those factors. So I would still say that for this election is about the economy, it's about hunger in your stomach, it's about having access to basic necessities of life.
Yeah.
I would like to add, apart from this development plank, this religious card played by the moment BJP projected Narendra Modi. So there is no doubt that there is a clear-cut apprehension in the mind of minorities because of Gujarat riots. So election has a definite effect of this religious line, and the caste barriers were. It appears, though we need to analyze further about the detailed results of UP and Bihar at least, as it appears that caste barriers are no longer there. But those caste barriers were no longer there because of bigger religious barrier. I came across lot of people, lot of minority person who were afraid of Narendra Modi. Even Mr. Ilmi,
You can call me Mr. Ilmi, but let me say, there is no fear of Mr. Modi. It is the parties which are trying to inculcate the fear that Mr. Modi will come, something will happen. Mr. Modi is here to govern this country.
He has to prove this now.
So
He
he
has
has
to
got the
prove
mandate
this now.
and he has to prove.
He has to prove.
He will
And
prove it.
as
So
far,
that's what the mandate
and
is all about.
as far as the arithmetic is concerned, though the majority number of seats, but if you take the number of votes, BJP won't have got more than 35% of vote. And that's how the entire, all the electoral history is there. Highest vote percentage Congress got is 48%. It's never a majority vote for any party as such. It's a majority of number of people get elected.
All right, fair enough. But Sanjeev, I want to get you in because this today really signifies a shift in politics. Are we beyond the politics of communal versus secular, caste politics? And is it only about development and economic agendas from here on?
Well, I don't see that happening because, the way this election has gone about, what we've basically seen is what Sudeep was trying to say is that, we've seen a massive Hindu consolidation. And, it's been given the garb of development. Whenever you go and someone says, I'm voting for progress or development, he's actually trying to say that, I'm going to vote because I want to vote on religious lines. I want to vote for a Hindu mascot. But, people will say that, maybe I'm being too much of a right-wing activist or something like that. Hence, they use the word development. So, that has been a very important point that we've seen for the first time. Otherwise, even, during the Ram Mandir, when the Ram Mandir agitation was happening, the BJP didn't get more than 180 seats. We're seeing almost a jump of over 100 seats. And that has happened simply because of this. So, for the BJP, it's going to be a very tough job to keep all these factors together because the moment we get back again into the caste equation, the BJP will start losing ground.
Yes, and that's happened in UP. I mean, you hail from UP. You've seen how the BJP had come to power over there and then was completely decimated. And today we see that situation completely reversed. But as you're saying,
politics is dynamic. It's very, very dynamic. And this situation couldn't have happened without Narendra Modi. He is definitely seen by a majority of people as somebody who can give good governance.
including Muslims?
A strong, decisive leadership. The Muslims in the last assembly elections in Jaipur, Indore, Bhopal, they are Muslims too. Why did they vote for Mr. Modi, why does the BJP have two BJP Muslim MLAs and Congress has none? Why did the BJP win 21 or 22 Muslim majority seats in Madhya Pradesh? It's very obvious that hunger development affects every citizen. Muslims are not aliens, they're Indian citizens after all. They have the similar needs as everybody else.
I agree partly. The regional satraps of BJP, especially Shivraj Singh Chauhan and to some extent Raman Singh, have successfully made inroad in the minority section as well. I came across lot of minority people who say that Shivraj Singh Chauhan or Raman Singh in one sense is better than Modi for us. But for Modi, there is a serious reservation. And this he has to overcome in this 5 years. If he is able to overcome, then the real talk of development and progress for minorities and everybody will come.
I sincerely feel that we have to get out of this secularism, communism and Muslim hang-up. Because the BJP wants to talk about equal opportunity for all citizens with a level playing field to provide everybody access to grow to their potential and live up to the idea of India in whichever capacity, without discrimination, positive or negative. You know, the Congress has practiced positive discrimination. You have such a committee report, that's the albatross around the neck. They announced the special scheme for minorities and then you don't plan it properly, you don't implement it. You say hostels and ITIs will come up in Muslim dominated areas in certain districts. And where they actually built, where there are no minorities. So you take them for a ride and the intended funds for the intended beneficiaries don't reach them. So people have seen through this entire game that you can't use the communal divide to keep on channelizing Muslims or hurting them to voting for a particular party. And across the board, it's getting rejected by everybody. So that's a very welcome sign that people are looking for real change and development. If you say something, you better deliver. And that's exactly what the BJP will have to do. Because 5 years or whatever, you come on very high expectations and you have no obstacles and no crutches of Mamta or Jayalalitha or Mayawati. You have a free run, you have a simple majority of your own, you have enough allies. You have no other reason but not to perform. And if you don't perform, you will perish because the public today is not going to spare you if you come on a plank of development and you take them for a ride and you get back to Mandir or some other issues. Whatever you said within the confines.
Right, but that's the concern, that the BJP with such a clear mandate could talk about anything and could do anything. We have Article 370, there's a contentious Ram Mandir.
The manifesto says within the confines of the constitution, unless communities get together or it's in the Supreme Court. So I think these are issues which are again historical issues of the past. And the nation today is saying that forget the historical baggage, let's look at the aspirational goodies that are likely to come by being together and hoping for development. That's the change.
Venkatesh Atre, do you agree with that change? Is that a vote that has happened today, that vote for change, a forward-looking vote for development?
The clause that is being put on the whole thing. You see, it's quite true that BJP has performed better in terms of seats than many would have expected. That is true. But to assume that all this is because of people buying into aspirational thing is a bit of an oversimplification. People, as other speakers have said, people saw a Congress which was completely venal, a UPAP which did not deliver on issues. Look at the issues that they're looking at. They're looking at price, unemployment, serious problems with food price rises. Now, the general vague development agenda does not have any of these issues. You know, if the Bajpa has followed the same policies as the Congress, both at the state and the central level, which is in fact the case, it's not clear that tomorrow they're coming into office in Delhi is going to enable them to deal with inflation or unemployment. What are you going to do about speculative future trading? What are you going to do about regulations we put on the hoarding of grain and essential commodities? What are you going to do about the need for public investment in infrastructure, in health, education? Are you going to just rely on this 1% of GDP, FDI to deliver you? I mean, there must be a serious rethink of policies. It's not about putting chests and change guards. It is about changing policies. And I don't think that BJP, its election manifesto, says anything about that. And contrary to what my good friend was trying to say, BJP does not talk about Indians alone. It does talk specifically about India being a haven for persecuted Hindus. How can you run away from that fact? I mean, the serious credibility is there when BJP claims to be secular. I'm not saying that you must now, always keep Muslims in some kind of ghettoized position. I completely agree with the sentiment of what our speaker is saying. The speaker cannot get away from the fact that the Bajpa mindset.
Speak to Venkatesh. Yeah. Mr. Venkatesh.
Of the Hindu majority vote. There is a clear
Mr. Venkatesh, we have to go beyond the Hindu-Muslim divide. We have to go beyond the Hindu-Muslim divide. I'm a Muslim here saying let's get beyond the Hindu-Muslim divide. You're a Hindu here talking about Muslims and trying to create a divide. We have to get beyond this divide and talk as Indians. There's no other way but to sit together and talk about it. It's how ironic is this that I, as an Indian Muslim, and I'm saying let's go beyond secularism, and you're talking as an Indian Hindu talking about communalism. It doesn't behove you. Let's respect the mandate. Let's be aspirational. Let's not have the politics of lamentation. Be aspirational, sir.
All right, let me
but
speak, please.
BJP is not going beyond this. I think we should go beyond it. What is the BJP saying? What is the manifesto saying? What is YGR saying? What is the RSS saying? What are we talking about? Don't live in a make-believe world.
Yes, but as you can't deny the fact that there has been doublespeak. You had Amit Shah talking about revenge.
Giriraj.
You have Giriraj saying
The
people
party
should be going to
delinked,
Pakistan.
Mr. Modi, Mr. Rajnath delinked themselves from the statements. You know, that is very true. They made
No, but the
they
fear
made
is, you might have
nonsense-
Modi talking about development, but you have fringe elements.
You have lunatic elements everywhere. They made obnoxious statements and they were wrapped in the knuckles.
And it's a doubt also.
But my biggest fear is when people like Kejriwal say that Khuda, they involve Khuda, and Azam Khan says Allah. We're getting God into electoral muck. It's crazy.
So the
It's-
BJP says Ram.
says Ram, but they talk about Asta of Ram, of building a Ram temple within the confines of the constitution. As
And a Ram Rajya, they also talk about
Ram
a
Rajya is a euphemism for good governance, my dear friend.
There is lot of apprehension with regard to this Giriraj saying or someone else is saying that this is a part of well thought over strategy. Modi and some people will speak development. This is apprehension. This what I am saying that Mr. Modi as a prime minister and BJP as a government in 5 years have to prove them wrong by
Absolutely,
their
yes.
conduct.
I agree with you entirely.
But there is a apprehension, serious apprehension that this is a part of well thought over strategy. Okay, you speak this, you speak this, and we will deliver like this.
All right, Sanjeev, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the strategy war that went on, and it seemed the Congress had none, while the BJP had it really well planned out to right down to every constituency.
Yeah, you see, the basic problem that the Congress faced was that, you know, even the strategy for the UP Assembly election in 2012 was not based on ground realities, and which is why we've seen, you know, the Congress totally use the plot. You know, there has been a lot of, you know, talk and debate within the Congress party after the elections got over. In fact, there is almost an internal revolt as far as, you know, the media management went about the elections and the whole campaign committee. So, you know, the basic things that were missing in the Congress campaign was, if you do not have the actual picture of what's happening on the ground, then, you know, there's no way you can get a strategy in place. And that is where they lost out. And coming to what Sudeep was saying, the fact that, you know, it was a very well thought out strategy of the BJP. You have all those, you know, controversial issues there in the manifesto. They've been mentioned there, be it the Ram Mandir issue or the Article 370. They are there, but, you know, as Dr. Ilmi is saying, it's conveniently been camouflaged under the issue of saying that we will do whatever is possible under the Constitution. That's more or less saying that, you know, basically it's not going to be possible in the next 60 months, as you know what they want to deliver in the manifesto. So there you have, you know, a well-oiled strategy in place of the BJP, where you are talking about things and yet saying that, you know, it will be very tough for you to do because you have to work under the framework of the Constitution, and you have the Congress party strategy that was, you know, nowhere close to the ground realities.
I would like to add just one point here, that a political party requires a political strategy, whereas Congress under Rahul Gandhi or AAP under Arvind Kejriwal was functioning like an NGO. They were not functioning as a political party at all.
Yeah, that the NGO mentality or mindset is
Yeah.
something that I mean, Rahul Gandhi.
But the public has answered. They don't want anarchic policies. They don't want instability. They want a strong, decisive leadership, which is why they had much more faith in the Modi-led NDA, which is why this mandate is very much apparent for all of us to see. Arvind Kejriwal, obviously, I mean, he talked about whatever he did. It was anarchic in nature. It was untrue to a large extent. And then over that, he spoke about creating instability and being the balancing factor. People want a stable government, and that's why the mandate is the full majority for the BJP is because the fear of having to lean on crutches of Mamata, Jayalalitha, Mayawati, or some other disparate force with people like NCP doing double speak, and all kinds of people, TRS fishing, YSR Ready Group, everybody is fishing to be part of the Fish and Loaves. I'm very happy they can all be accommodated, but the fact is that you have a clear mandate. For the first time, a non-Congress party has managed to get a clear mandate in terms of a simple majority. It's a very big paradigm shift in the politics of this country. And let me just say what my dear friend just spoke about, policy on the ground. Unfortunately for the Congress party, whether it's the ground, under the ground, or above the ground, they lost the plot much before in time. And I interacted with so many people in the Congress party earlier. They really had no clue as to what was going to happen. The problem was the desire to promote the Congress Vice President, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, as the future face. That impacted every other decision. Which is why they really lost the plot and nobody really knew what was happening. but the congressmen, if you talk to them earlier, they would tell you that something seriously amiss. What they were hoping was to have a simple century or get out in the nervous 90s. But unfortunately, they got hit wicket before they could score half a century also.
Right.
So this is the power of the people, and you have to accept the mandate and actually try and do justice to the mandate by delivering in real terms.
All right, I just want to take you quickly through to the kind of mandate that has been delivered, because there have been some major losers and winners in this election. Some of there have been a lot, in fact, we'll put that out on your screen right now. The key contests that were there and the results that have come in. All right, so Papu Yadav, Sharad Yadav, the JDU lost. Sharad Yadav was the convener of the
This is a loss
NDA
to,
till the time
this
they
is a big loss to Parliament.
Sharad Yadav.
Yes, he is one of the best parliamentarian.
But he's been beaten by Papu Yadav of the RJD. That's in Madhepura. Let's see what else.
This is the irony, na? Papu Yadav is being considered as a Bahubali, a criminal background, and yet.
All right, Shivaganga. Just look at the kind of votes that Karthik Chidambaram pulled. Just 19,707.
That's the anger. That's the kind of anger.
Anger and disgust
Disgust.
at the policies of the Congress party.
You can see also Telangana results where Congress is third. They lost Simandhara because they created Telangana, and even in Telangana they are nowhere.
All right, Veerappa Moily, though for the Congress, has won 4,24,800 seats, and he wasn't being given a ticket. He literally had to fight for that one. So, but that is some good news for the Congress.
One good thing is that JDS, again pretenders, wanting a little pie, wanting to get 4-8 seats and trying to negotiate for ministerial positions. This is a rejection of all people who wanted to create crutches, create obstacles in governance.
Right.
I'm very happy that the public actually saw through the games of such parties who wanted to play spoil sport or try and fish for loaves of office.
All right, Sanjeev, I want to get you in because the expectation from the people now would be a lot in terms of just the kind of decisive mandate that India has given to Narendra Modi. The expectations would be really high. And if immediate things do not happen, and given the fact that we've had unseasonal rains, there are a lot of question marks about what will happen in the near future. How tough is or easy it going to be for Narendra Modi?
Mr. Ankar, you explain why
It is going to be very tough for the BJP government because, even today we could see, congressmen, after the results came, they said, what is Narendra Modi going to deliver in 60 months that the Congress has not been able to deliver in 60 years? Talking about delivering is one thing and delivering is another thing. So, they are just going to keep this new government on their toes and, keep a hawk eye on the kind of work that they do. Of course, the work that starts right now for BJP government is price rise and corruption. These are the two things, that they have to take care of. And then there will be pressure on them from, their other organizations to push forward some sort of a Hindutva agenda where, they can talk about sensitive issues. So it really is a very tough task because he may have got 60 months to deliver, but we really have to see. We'll know in the first 6 months how much of, what is the rate of delivery of the BJP government. And from then on, it will be pretty clear which way we're headed as far as this government is concerned.
All right, Mr. Atre, you wanted to come in. Please go ahead.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. One, of course, I don't see how TRS and YSRC become fishy. Chandrababu Naidu is pure as gold. I'll leave that aside for the time being. Point is, on the development issue, what is the set of policy that you have in mind? You have an economy which is now more than 50% linked to the international economy. And the world economy is in doldrums. it's not likely to recover very quickly. We have a huge inflation problem, especially with food articles. We have a very, fragile balance of payment situation. Temporarily, may have come down a bit because of the decline in gold imports. But all these problems are hanging fire, and they are not be settled by just some demagogic declarations. We need a very concrete plan of action, some reversal of the neoliberal policies of the last 15 years from NDA onwards, not just from UPA 1 and 2. We need to look at the role of public investment in improving infrastructure, in health, education, and not depend on 1% of GDP, what FDI amounts to deliver us from evil. I think all this is thought about. BJP must think beyond the straight jacket of neoliberal policies and must reflect on how we can put together an alternative economic program. There, they will run into difficulties with the corporates who are linked to the world of international finance.
All right.
These are challenges ahead of us.
All right, fair enough. So there are concerns about the expectations. In fact, we went out on the streets to ask people what they expected from the new BJP government under the new Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and this is what people had to say on the streets.
Modi has clearly taken all the seats from Delhi as well, all 7 out of 7 seats. So I am a Delhiite, so I would just say about Delhi that I see India's future under Modi as a very bright one.
He's won by such a large majority in India, shows that people trust him a lot.
I feel that Narendra Modi is going to destroy our country completely because he is basically somebody with the blood of 2,000 people in his hands. And also his party is no better than the Congress party and they're both very corrupt.
India will have a bright future with Mr. Narendra Modi, as I've been to Gujarat recently and I saw all the developments over there which has been done. Only one thing I don't want, that with the Gujarat model being a dry state, India doesn't become a dry state.
Well, it's a good thing because we'll have a stable government. It's been a long time, almost 16 years, that we have not had. Well, the governments have been stable, but they've been coalition governments, so not in a position to make policies always. So from that point of view, it's certainly a good thing.
Those who have favored a stable government, I'm sure will find it very encouraging. But the most important thing probably for us from the media is that for a change, the opinion polls and the exit polls have been appear to have been vindicated, which would be good for psephology, which would be good for more scientific election predictions in India.
The whole of India was divided into one vote for BJP and one for the rest of the parties, and that's what's showing. And thankfully, and people who are nervous about it should feel confident because this is going to be a more liberal government.
All right, so you've heard the people's expectations. I'll give you the final word because it's absolutely run out of time. Thank you very much, Sanjeev and Dr. Venkatesh Athare, for coming in. But Dr. Hilmi, final word, a lot of expectations, a lot to deliver on. What can we expect from the BJP, just to start off with?
I think it's an excellent opportunity to have the kind of government, the kind of vote and mandate that we've got without crutches of either the three ladies, the Team Devia as you call them, and having a simple majority which was not really expected. But the fact is, people in this country have given you the kind of mandate. This mandate is to govern, to give good governance, to be sensitive to the needs of people, and to not try. You come on a platform of inclusivity of all India. You try and be too exclusive in power like the Congress was. The public will show you the door very soon.
All right, on that note, we've completely run out of time, Sudeep. Thank you very much for coming in. Dr. Hilmi, thank you very much for coming in. Congratulations on a great victory. Venkatesh Athare, thank you very much for joining us from Chennai, and also Sanjeev Singh. Well, that's it on this conversation. The conversations, of course, continue right here on India Post Live. We'll be, of course, talking about the government formation and what now will be happening, and we'll be getting all those updates to you and analyzing that as well for you. On that note, we'll call it a night. Good night.